Okay, here's an update. I've fixed the piece to the base, and as you can tell, I've gone ahead and primed it black, and didn't bother taking that because basically all this thing is just like a big black blob, so you really couldn't see a whole lot. So what I went ahead and did is started the primary colors, and been going through and just starting to put different things down. So sand around the base, put in here. Typical sand around the base, just then with a black coat, then a brown, and then mixtures with yellow and brown. Just trying to break this monotone up. Did some pieces on here to make it look like a continuation of the tiles and stuff like that, a little more spaced out. And then, just realized there's a spot here. I still got a base coat. I ran out of paint. And then I went back in here. This was a monotone color. Went back in, airbrushed this back out. And airbrushed a couple different colors to lighten it up. Put the centerpiece back on, which did come off, and glued that down. Painted the bricks so they didn't look like the just cheesy orange. And then I've been going in and basically highlighting up the tiles and the different squares again to give it more definition and to break it up. And then I've gone in and started kind of starting to detail the walls. So this is then with a couple layers of paint on it, and then the bigger portion here has been working on the blast markers. I apologize here for the shadows. So get more light in there. There we go. Trying to highlight those up, and then once I put some washes and things like that, and then I'll streak some grit down here, and then some black for like burn marks and scorch marks up on this. Again, I'll get the airbrush out for that. But just in general, it's a quick update here. And then also what I've done is I have drilled out 2 holes, one on each side here, that then on the bottom here I've gotten some basic like flag holders. So let me see if I can do this in here off camera. And these are just some bamboo skewers, and all that will let me then do is these will act as holders so that I can then put I can make some flags out of them. So obviously these are just much taller, just to kind of give you an idea than what they need to be, but I'll probably end up getting them. So let me just kind of change the angle here. So if you see, here's my hand flat there. I'll probably go a little bit higher, so just so you get a general idea of how tall this will be. You know, it's going to be a pretty good height, so you know that's probably span of a good probably about 5 inches tall, 5 or 6 inches tall. Might maybe go a little bit more, and then give them a nice spread so they'll be a good sized banner. And but then again, these will just be removable, so that for storage you can just pop those off, lay them in the piece, and there you go. So it keeps it pretty simple without getting it overly complicated, plus inexpensive. So again, that's just kind of base coats. I'm going to keep going on here. There's just the size of the piece means, you know, just painting something simple takes, you know, 20-30 minutes if not longer to go through and do that stuff. So I'm going to go back and fix a couple more spots that I realized I missed, and then probably if I get energetic tonight, I'm going to gloss coat it, and that will let me start putting the washes on. And once I'm going to be doing an oil wash, because again, something of this size, doing it in, you know, GW washes, yeah, that'll cost me $30. So this will just be some simple oil washes that I can make in bulk, and plus with all the different colors you can get, I can add blues and greens and different hues that will make the concrete and the different areas and stuff like that just have a different tone than just one monotone kind of blah. It gives it just little subtle pieces that when you have different light on it, it actually makes different things stand out. So highly recommend it. Been, you know, watching different videos on using oil washes, and part of my experimentation has actually been using the different colors so that you can mix and blend and things like that. And you know, if it doesn't work, it's not that big of a deal to take it off. So there you go. That's the basic update, the basic color palette of this one. And then once I can get all that done, the reason I want to get the washes done and the basic dry brushing is once I get that done, then I can fill this up, which I know is going to take a while to dry, and then I can, and I can't touch the piece basically because I got to leave it alone, let it sit flat so that the thing doesn't, you know, slump or anything like that. So more to come. Okay, here's just the next update. partially just did some dry brushing on the edges to make some edges pop out. So let's see if I can get a, so that's just the one layer dry brush, and then like I said, I'm going to gloss coat things, but I changed up my idea. Originally I was going to have this piece kind of like hanging off here, and then quite honestly I realized that the base I was trying to keep really small wasn't really going to fit, didn't quite look right, so I was thinking then about trying to dump it onto here, but then that doesn't quite look right either. So what I actually think I'm going to do is I need to texture up this, because originally this was supposed to be pointed down. I'll have to texture up this a little bit more, but what I'm going to do is make it actually look like it's been broken off, and that the rebar is making it hang there. So the good part is I can move it down enough to where I actually got a couple good glue points, because that's the risk of a piece like this is, it's going to get, it can get banged around, and this is essentially a high piece, so it has to be sturdy. It's going to have to be able to hold on. But I think what I can do is I can put enough paper clips and stuff through it to make it look like rebar, and create enough of a lattice work to it, and with a couple of these key glue points I can make it look like it's broken and tipped over like that. So everything still is playable, but it actually still looks believable and still stays within the footprint, etc. So I gotta change up a little bit here, again, make these edges look a little more, as compared to everything else, these look all nice and clean. So these are going to have to get roughed up some more, but that's not a big deal. That's pretty easy to do, and it's just like I said, that's the reason why I use this material, because I can chop it back up even with this paint. It's really easy to do. Can then throw some more drywall compound on it, retexture it back up, and have it all back together, and it'll blend in, and I think that'll actually give it a little bit more, it'll give this side a little bit more character, and just give it that little, just a little extra something, and a new idea just kind of came to me with that I can do that. So there you go. Hopefully I can get that done tomorrow, and then get the gloss coat done, and then start the weathering techniques. And then once the weathering techniques go, the rest of this base piece should then go pretty quickly. Then it's bushes and shrubs and some other stuff like that to give it that last bit of touches, and then of course the water piece. Okay, here's an update. See if you can tell, I've hacked up the piece of wall and I've attached it here, and what I've done is I've taken a bunch of paper clips and put it in here so it looks like it's being held on by rebar of what's left to keep the wall attached. The biggest trick I found was coming up with something that would actually hold the piece so that you could actually, see if I can get some detail in here. So what I did is put some sand in there to give a little bit more, where I've hidden some glue points, but you can see I stuck a bunch of paper clips in there to look like rebar is still holding on to the piece. So, but what I've actually got is 3 glue points, because unfortunately, without planning this ahead of time, it was kind of like a big push pin exercise. So I've got 3 glue points. I've got 1 glue point down here with my goop glue. I've got 2 small points in here where I've got glue, and then this is a big glue point right here that I've also got some paper clips in it, again, both as kind of like a pinning, but also to hide some of that glue, because it's not a very natural looking material. So right now this has got to dry, and then this is all just the plaster stuff of the drywall compound. So that'll all sit, and then once this dries up, this should be nice and sturdy. If it's not nice and sturdy, then I got another problem, and I'll have to figure that one out. The other thing I also then decided to do, since I was on the whole rebar kick, is I went into the holes here again, punched out a couple of the things and pushed in some more cut up paper clip to make it look like rebar, just to give it that, hopefully, a little bit extra detail. And as I was also going through, I noticed that I've got glue that oozed out, and missed scraping that off. So what I'm going to need to do there is I'll just put some more glue on top of it, put some sand over the top of it, and it'll just kind of look like debris there. I've got a little bit on each side that I didn't pay attention to, so I can clean that up, or I can even just hide it with some like bushes and make it look like weeds and growth over it. So just a little bit to hide up some of the additional glue points. So that's where that stands. This right now has just got to be in another one of the let it sit and dry modes, which drives me crazy because once I get on a kind of a momentum of things, I don't like stopping. And this kind of, this is one of those spots where I got to let it dry. I have to stop, and so just another one of those things. So once this dries up, I'll finish that bit of painting off and finish the last couple pieces of base coat that I need to do, and then it will be hitting it with the gloss coat so I can then start the washes. And hopefully, if this can dry today, I can do that varnish coat tonight and maybe start the first layer of washes so that by tomorrow I can finish up the washes, or at least get it to a point to where I've got the majority of the washes done so I can start the fill on here, because like I said, this is going to take a while, and again, once I do that, I can't touch it. I got to leave it alone. So I'm trying to set it up to a point in time where I can leave it for a while, not feel like I got to go get some more work done on it, and maybe have it time it where I can go play actually another game. I've got some friends lined up to play next week, and if I can get this to a close enough point, might be able to pull this piece out and we can get maybe get a little bit of play on it. So we'll see. That's where this goes, and after this, it'll be, like I said, hopefully the next layer of coating.